Hi, welcome to Live Your Dream Podcast, episode 23. Today we're talking about the third step towards career happiness, take action. I'm your host, Selena Lee. Before I start the show today, I want to give a shout out to my listener who recently left a review on iTunes. Dongyu K wrote, Remedy for Hardships. I started listening to her podcast just to keep my mind occupied during the commute. Then when my time came to decide what to do with my life and career, what I've been hearing for the past few months became good advice that I probably could not get from anywhere. This podcast gave me the motivations and inspirations to just pursue my dreams and taught me that sometimes you just have to do what you love to do. Oh my gosh, you don't even understand how many times I read this review. It totally made my day. Thank you so much for not only listening to my podcast, but also taking the time to write me this really amazing review. Because I record these podcasts alone or, sometimes with just my guests, I don't really know who's listening and what they're thinking about the show. So reviews like this really let me know that you are listening and that somehow my work is making an impact and helping you. So thank you so much. So if you got any value from listening to my podcast, I would really appreciate it if you can just take a few minutes to give me a rating and write me a review. I heard that a lot of people decide to listen to a podcast after reading the reviews. So if you can write me a review, that will really help me to get discovered by new listeners, and I may give you a shout out in future episodes. So today I'm talking about the third step of the 3-step framework that I've developed to coach people out of jobs they hate and into careers they love. I've learned over the years that true fulfillment in a career is possible only when what we do is aligned with who we are. This framework that I'm sharing with you has been proven very effective in transforming careers and the lives of many people. So I hope you'll listen to all the 3 episodes and do the exercises that I've designed for you because I know they will be helpful to you. In episode 20, I talked about the first step towards career happiness, which was about learning about ourselves and how we can gain self-awareness. And in episode 22, I talked about how to overcome internal obstacles. If you haven't had a chance to listen to these episodes yet, I highly recommend you go and listen to them first and then come back and listen to this episode. There's a reason why I've structured them in 3-part series, and it will be helpful for you to listen to them in order. Okay, so today we're talking about the third step towards career happiness, how to take action. It's only through action that our lives will change. When you do nothing, nothing happens and your life will be the same. So we need to learn how to create career visions that is aligned with our values and then take steps and actions towards the career that will give us joy and meaning. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Number 1, dream big and start small. A big dream can be really intimidating and you may not even know where to begin. So a good way to start is to think about what is one small action you can take today to get one step closer to your dream. So in previous episodes, I share with you my story of how I achieved my childhood dream of writing a book. And when I started to think about how I was going to make it happen, of course, it can seem very intimidating and very daunting. So the first thing I did was to think about what are small action items I can take today to get one step closer to my dream. So I created a list of all the people I wanted to interview. So my dream list. So kind of like when you're applying for college, you think to yourself, if I can get in anywhere, I would love to go to these schools. So I thought to myself, if I can interview anyone, these are the people that I would love to interview. So I did research. I came up with a list. And then I started to email them. And of course, I got a lot of rejections and a lot of just like no response. But I can only control my actions. I cannot control the outcome, right? So I don't know if they will respond or how they will respond, but I can at least reach out to them, right? And what I've learned is that plenty of people will say no to you, but some people will say yes if you just keep trying and you're persistent and you don't give up. And with those yeses, you can write a book, you can start a podcast, you can start a new project or whatever it is that you want to do. So do what you can right now in your current circumstances and don't wait for the situation to be perfect because it will never be. Think about what you can do for your dream and what you can do today to get one step closer to it and act on it. So this is relevant not just for our careers, but also in living the life that we dream of in our personal lives. So in previous episodes, I've shared with you the story of how I started my community called Give One Dream, and it is to inspire people to have the courage to pursue and achieve their dreams. And one of the initiatives is called Share Your Dream Campaign, where I ask people to write their dreams on a postcard and send to me, and I share them on social media. And over the years, I've collected and shared dreams from people all over the world. Like I've had like thousands of dreams. And what's really interesting is that so many of them are travel related dreams. I can't even count how many I want to travel around the world dreams that I've received over the years. So if this is one of your dreams, one way to think about it is you look at the theme that comes up. Maybe it's a sense of adventure that is missing from your life. So can you take a weekend trip somewhere or maybe a day trip to a place you haven't been in your own city? It's possible to travel without leaving the country or even your own city. And you don't have to wait until you get a vacation or until you retire. I recently talked about this at one of my career workshops, and one of my friends who was there said that after she listened to me talk about it, she took a day trip to a botanical garden in New York City and she had a lot of fun. So that made me so happy. So think about what it is you want in your life and come up with ideas on how you can make it happen right now. So the idea is to do what you can in your current situations and take actions that will make you happier and get one step closer to your goals and dreams. Number 2, follow your curiosity, not your passion. When I was really lost in my career, I would read books like what should I do with my life? As if those books were going to tell me what I'm supposed to do with my life. And I was so annoyed because so many of these books were telling me to go follow my passion. And I was like, if I knew what my passion was, I wouldn't be reading this book, okay? And if you're like me, you may have felt the same way too. Like, how do we know what our passion is and how are you supposed to follow that? And what I've learned over the years is that passion is a scary word, but curiosity, on the other hand, is much more friendly and easily accessible. So don't worry about finding your passion, but follow your curiosity. What makes you curious? What are you interested in? And explore that and try that. And you might just be surprised to find that your curiosity actually reveals or leads you to what your passion is. And that certainly was true in my life. Number 3. Give yourself the permission to do the things that makes you happy and brings you joy, even if it has nothing to do with your career right now. You need to allow yourself to do the things that makes you happy, that you find to be fun and meaningful, and just try things that sparks your curiosity, even if at this moment it seems like it has nothing to do with your career and you can't see how it will help you to make the next career move or get the next job. So when I decided to write my book, I didn't have any plans to become a full-time writer, and I still don't. I just tried it because it was one of my childhood dreams, and it would make me so happy just thinking about the possibility of it becoming a reality. And because I gave myself the permission to write the book and just go for it and just try it, it led to me starting my community Give One Dream. And then I started my podcast and I now work as a career coach. And me just helping people pursue their dreams and help them move towards fulfilling career is my calling. I never knew that about me until I just tried all of these things. And now the work that I do makes me feel like I'm wearing clothes that fits me so well. And there's nothing like doing work that makes you feel alive and that really ignites you. So you just have to try things that you find to be fun and you're curious about. Because there were times when I look back at my life and career path and I was so confused because I had so many random interests and I've done so many random things. And I was like, why can't I just be a lawyer and investment banker, just stick with one thing like everybody else? And one day I was kind of reflecting about my life and I found that even though I've done so many random things that seem to be not related, out of all the things that I've done, the ones that brought me the most joy all had common themes, and they were people and stories. So that was my book, my community, and the podcast. So it all led to me now working as a career coach and me being able to help people find their true career fulfillment, help them do the work that they believe is meaningful. This is my calling, and I would have never known this unless I have given myself the permission to just try things. Steve Jobs famously said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards." So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, or whatever. And this approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life. And this has been so true in my life as well. So even though you may have interests that seem really unrelated to your career right now, just try it and trust me, it will all make sense in the future. Okay, number 4, action lessens fears and grows confidence. So I've met a lot of successful people in my life, and what I've found was that these people also had fears and insecurities and doubts, but they didn't let them stop them from taking action and just try things. These successful people that I met didn't necessarily come from the privileged backgrounds, and they did not have the most money or the connection or the best education, but they just went out and tried things. And by trying and failing and getting back up and trying again, they eventually built a life that was fulfilling and meaningful to them. So it is through action that you are going to learn more about yourself and then help you grow the confidence, and it will reduce fear. Number 5, share your ideas, goals, and dreams with others. I talked about this in my previous episode 18, 5 things I learned from starting my podcast, but this is relevant to today's topic, so I'll talk about it again. So if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you'll know that there's one question that I ask everybody, which is, who helped you to get to where you're now and to achieve your dreams? And I ask this because I know that no one can succeed alone and no one can achieve dreams alone. You need other people to help you to get to where you want to go. And if you don't tell them what you want, they cannot help you. People are not mind readers. The one way to guarantee you never achieve your goals and dream is to tell no one. So whenever I have a new idea or something that I want to do, I tell everyone that I know. And it serves a couple different purposes. One is to hold me accountable because if I tell someone I want to do something, chances are the next time I see them, they might ask me, hey, so, what's going on with that? Have you made progress with that? And, if I have done nothing, it may be a little bit embarrassing. So it kind of motivates me to take action to move forward with that. And then also, you never know who knows who and who can help you. In episode 18, I talked about how when I was starting my podcast, or when it was just an idea, I told one of my friends who really had nothing to do with the podcast about, that I want to do this. And she ended up introducing me to someone she knew who had started a podcast about soccer. And not only was he very helpful in helping me to buy the right equipment and recording device and teaching me how to upload in iTunes and Google Play, all of those technical things, he also shared with me a story of how he was from Portugal and he was working as a school teacher. And then he started a podcast about soccer, and then he got recruited to be a soccer commentator for one of the biggest broadcasting television in Miami. And now he is literally living his dreams. He's on TV every day talking about soccer, which is his dream job. So, and how did I connect with him? Because I just shared it with a friend of mine, and I had no idea she knew anyone who had started a podcast. So share your ideas, goals, and dreams with other people. You really need other people to help you to get to where you want to go, but they can't help you if you don't tell them what you want. Number 6, set the intention and commit to it. Then you'll start to see opportunities you would have otherwise never seen. So if you're in the market to buy a red car, then you start to see red cars everywhere, right? And were they never there before? No, they were always there, but you were just not paying attention. So if you set the intention and decide that you're going to achieve your goals and dreams, your brain starts to do the work for you and subconsciously starts to work to make it happen. Just like when you tell people about what you want to do, they start to think about how they can help you. And I have certainly experienced this in my life. When I decided that I was going to write a book and believe that I was going to make it happen, I started to see opportunities that I otherwise would have never seen. So in previous episode 15, I talked about how when I was trying to write my book and achieve my childhood dream, my mom literally just laughed at me. She said it was never going to happen. And one of the things that she said was who's going to publish your book? And it was really challenging because at the time, I didn't know how an aspiring writer would be introduced to a publisher in Korea because there's no literary agents in Korea. Right around this time, I was hosting a talk show for a Korean American broadcasting television in New York City. And I had heard that a very famous writer from Korea named Kyung-suk Shin was in town to do a book tour because one of her novels called Please Look After Mom was just published in English. So I reached out to her publisher and asked if she'd be available for an interview. And I did this even though my talk show at the time was in English, so all my other guests were English speakers. I just proposed to my broadcasting company, it'd be okay if we just put a subtitle on I'll interview her in Korean. They're like, sure, do whatever you want. So I interviewed her, and after the interview, a few days later, we had dinner, and I just told her about my book idea. I know it was super, super scary because, I was just like a nobody. I was just had this book idea. I was an aspiring writer, and she was probably the most famous writer from Korea. And she just listened really patiently, and she told me she likes why I want to write the book, which was to inspire and help people to pursue their dreams. She also liked the concept for my book, which was to interview people who have pursued their dreams. So she said, why don't you write one chapter and send it to me? So even though it was really scary, I wrote the first chapter about Chef Hooni, who I also interviewed on my podcast. If you haven't listened, you should go back and listen to it. It's an amazing episode, episode 2. So I wrote a chapter about Hooni and then I sent it to her, and I was so super nervous, and she immediately read it and she responded to my email and said, I love it. And she said she really liked how I write because I wasn't writing to write well, but I was just writing very honestly about how I felt. So she ended up putting me in touch with her publisher, and therefore my book got published by one of the best publishers in the country. I know it's a crazy story, right? But it's actually happened to me. And this experience taught me that when you set the intention and commit to it, and you believe that you're going to make your goals and dream a reality, you start to see opportunities you would have otherwise never seen, and stars align, your dreams will come true. I mean, what are the chances that a very famous writer from Korea happens to be in New York City when I was working on my book or had the idea for wanting to write a book? And I have a way to meet with her, and she helps me to achieve my dream. And we're now super close, and she's one of my closest friends. And I would have never met her or developed this friendship if I wasn't working on my book and I didn't have the courage to reach out to her. So you never know what will happen if you just keep trying and take actions and set the intention that you're going to make your goals and dreams happen. So whether you'll be living your dreams in your future depends on how you spend your time today. It is all in your actions. I hope what I've shared with you today have inspired you to go out and explore and just try things. You just have to get out into the world and meet people and tell people about what you want and take action. And this is the only way you'll learn about yourself and what you really, really want and create the life that you dream of. If you think about it, we spend so much time on our jobs or going to school. I mean, imagine how many hours we spend trying to learn like calculus or biology or chemistry, history, a lot of the things that we don't even remember, right? But we never spend time learning about ourselves. So we need to work on ourselves with as much dedication as we do work on our jobs and in our schools. So I've shared with you the 3 steps to career happiness in 3 different episodes. Step number 1 was gain self-awareness. Step number 2 was overcome internal obstacles. And step 3 is what we talked about, take action. And it's important to do this in order because if you are not self-aware enough to know what you want, you don't know what actions to take, right? Even if you are self-aware enough to know what you want to do, if your inner negative voice is too strong and stops you from taking action, you're not going to do anything about it. So then you have to overcome your internal obstacles, right? And then you are ready to take action. So this is an evolving process and also a continuing process. So you're not going to just be done with learning about yourself. As you take more action, you're going to learn more about yourself, and then you're going to gain more self-awareness, which will help you to take more action and so on. I want to share with you one of my favorite quotes by the poet Rumi. When you walk on the way appears. You have to act before you're ready because you're never going to feel like you're ready. And another thing that I hear often is, I don't have time. And my answer to that is, you don't find time. You make time if it's important to you. When a lot of people tell me, oh, I would love to do this and that, but I don't have time right now, then I'm thinking maybe it's not that important to you. I believe that everybody is born with special gifts and talents, but it takes time to really explore and develop that. And not many people even give themselves the permission to even explore what that may be. So we block ourselves from even trying because we overthink and underact. And how we're trained in school actually hurts us in our careers because we overanalyze and we're not open to possibilities and explorations. And this is especially true for a lot of lawyers because we tend to issue spot our dreams and think about all the things that are wrong with it before we even do anything about it. And we really never know what will happen until we really try. So I want to ask you this question. What is the cost of not doing it? And I've heard that one of the biggest regret people who are dying on their deathbed is that they didn't have the courage to honor their dreams. And you don't want to be one of them. And I don't want to be one of them. And this is why I wrote my book and I've started this podcast and doing all the things that I'm doing. So join me. It is really possible to make our dreams happen. So let me recap what I've shared with you today on how to take action. Number 1, dream big and start small. Number 2, follow your curiosity and not your passion. Number 3, give yourself the permission to do the things that makes you happy and brings you joy, even if it has nothing to do with your career right now. Number 4, Action lessens fears and grows confidence. Number 5, share your ideas, goals, and dreams with other people. Number 6, set the intention and commit to it, and then you'll start to see opportunities you would have otherwise never seen. And I'd love to hear from you about what actions you took to get one step closer to your own dreams. And it could be a very, very small action, but I would love to hear about it. So please send me a message on my website, selinalee.co/contact, CELINALEE.co/contact. And if you haven't listened to episodes 20 and 22 yet, which are the first and the second step towards career happiness, I would highly recommend that you go back and listen to these episodes. I have also prepared a value assessment you can download in the show notes for episode 20. And I really encourage you to do this assessment and write down your answers to the questions that I've asked you, because doing this assessment will really, really help you. I've coached many clients through these exercises and have given many workshops and talks at various different organizations. And I've seen that it really, really helps people to gain clarity and become more self-aware and help them move towards fulfilling careers. I've also put together a guide to the 3 steps to finding true career fulfillment, and which is a completely different exercise from what I'm having you do now in this episode. So if you are interested, you can also download it by clicking today's show notes on your podcast app or my website, selinalee.co, CELINALEE.co. And please subscribe on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And while you're at it, I would really appreciate it if you can please write me a review. It will really help me to spread the word and get discovered by new listeners. For questions about my coaching or to reach out to me with any thoughts or questions about my podcast, you can also visit my website, selinalee.co, or just click on today's show notes on your podcast app. So thank you so much, and I'll be back soon with another episode. I hope you have a great week.